When people think of Clint Eastwood, they think of his iconic squint, the low rasp of his voice, and decades of unforgettable roles. But behind the camera, Eastwood quietly built one of Hollywood's most successful and stealthy production companies, Malpaso Productions. Founded in 1967, this company has produced nearly every Eastwood film since Hang 'em High. The name came from a comment made by Eastwood's agent, who warned him that producing his own movies was a malpaso, a misstep. But Eastwood, ever the gambler, turned that misstep into a power move. Malpaso allowed Eastwood full creative control over his projects, something very few stars could claim at the time. This autonomy helped him pivot from rugged Western hero to a respected director, with hits like Unforgiven, Mystic River, and Million Dollar Baby winning critical acclaim and box office gold. What most people don't realize is just how profitable Malpaso has been. Operating under the radar, the company minimized overhead and maximized return by streamlining production and focusing on character-driven stories. Eastwood often reused sets, kept his shooting schedules tight, and worked with a trusted circle of collaborators. Malpaso has generated hundreds of millions in revenue, all while flying below the Hollywood radar. Unlike other studios flaunting success, Eastwood kept his wins quiet, letting the films speak for themselves. And by keeping operations modest, he funneled a significant portion of earnings back into his own pockets. This business model became a blueprint for other actors turned directors, but none have done it quite like Eastwood. His strategic low profile ensured that Malpaso didn't become bloated or vulnerable to studio meddling. He chose scripts with care, prioritized efficiency over extravagance, and often acted in his own productions to save costs. But it wasn't just about saving money, it was about doing things his way. And that autonomy turned into a financial fortress. So while fans admired Clint Eastwood the cowboy, the real power move was happening quietly behind the scenes. Malpaso wasn't just a production company. It was Eastwood's hidden kingdom, generating wealth, influence, and legacy. And yet, most of Hollywood never saw it coming. Because for Clint Eastwood, the loudest moves are made in silence. But the empire, that was growing all along. Beyond the glint of Hollywood lights and the grit of Western sets, Clint Eastwood was playing an entirely different game: real estate. Over the decades, Eastwood quietly amassed an impressive portfolio of properties, spanning oceanside retreats, luxurious ranches, and elite neighborhoods. While many stars flaunt their wealth, Eastwood did the opposite. He let his investments speak for themselves. His crown jewel might be the sprawling estate in Carmel, California, a charming coastal town where he once served as mayor. But this isn't just sentimental value. The property is worth millions. And it doesn't stop there. Eastwood owns a lavish home in Bel Air, Los Angeles, one of the most expensive zip codes in the country. This mansion, nestled among Hollywood's elite, is rarely photographed and almost never mentioned in the press, just how Eastwood likes it. Then there's his oceanfront compound in Maui, Hawaii. Perched above crystal waters and surrounded by lush greenery, it's both a getaway and a goldmine. Hawaii's real estate values have soared in recent years, and Eastwood's early investment is now worth a fortune. Add in a 5,000-acre ranch in Bernie, California, and several other properties throughout the state, and you start to see the scope of his holdings. What sets Eastwood apart is his timing. He bought many of these properties long before prices exploded, showcasing a keen sense of value and patience. He's not flipping houses for quick profits, he's building a generational portfolio. And while other celebrities have fallen into traps with oversized mortgages or flashy purchases, Eastwood has kept things grounded, realistic, and profitable. Even the properties he no longer owns have added to his legend. Take the historic Mission Ranch in Carmel. He rescued it from demolition in the 1980s and restored it into a picturesque inn and restaurant. It became both a passion project and a profitable venture, blending Eastwood's love for preservation with business savvy. These holdings are rarely discussed, partly because Eastwood doesn't brag and partly because he doesn't need to. But they reveal a man who planned for the long haul. A man who turned Hollywood paychecks into real-world assets. And while the public saw him ride into sunsets on screen, Eastwood was quietly laying the bricks of an empire that would last long after the cameras stopped rolling. And this was just the beginning of what Eastwood had built. Because one particular investment would go on to multiply his fortune and elevate his status far beyond Hollywood. And it all started with a game of golf. In the late 1990s, Clint Eastwood made a move that would surprise even his closest fans. It wasn't a new film or a real estate flip. It was a power play involving one of the most iconic golf courses in the world, Pebble Beach. Situated along the rugged California coastline, Pebble Beach Golf Links is more than just a golfer's paradise. It's a symbol of prestige, money, and elite status. And Eastwood, alongside a group of investors, quietly bought a controlling interest in the entire resort. At the time, Pebble Beach was owned by a Japanese company that had been struggling financially. Eastwood and his partners, including businessman Peter Uberroth and golf legend Arnold Palmer, saw an opportunity to return the resort to American hands. In 1999, they purchased the property for approximately $820 million. For many, this seemed like a staggering sum. But Eastwood knew better. He understood the real value wasn't just in the land, but in the legacy. Pebble Beach hosts U.S. Open championships, draws the richest clientele, and remains one of the most photographed golf courses in the world. Since the acquisition, the resort's value has skyrocketed, with annual revenues from tourism, lodging, and tournaments making it a financial juggernaut. Eastwood's involvement wasn't just financial. He played a key role in shaping the resort's future, preserving its natural beauty, and ensuring it remained a world-class destination. His reputation in the area and deep love for Carmel gave the move authenticity. He wasn't just a Hollywood star throwing money around, he was a local leader investing in the heart of his community. What makes this move part of Eastwood's hidden empire is how quietly it all happened. There were no flashy press releases or red carpet unveilings, just a calculated decision, a well-timed investment, and commitment to long-term value. And now, with Pebble Beach worth well over $1 billion, Eastwood's share has become one of the most valuable pieces of his portfolio. It's another reminder that Eastwood's empire isn't about ego or showmanship. It's about vision, control, and smart choices made away from spotlight. And while other celebrities chased short-term hype, Eastwood was investing in legacy, one golf swing at a time. But Eastwood didn't stop at golf courses and movie sets, because his next venture involved not just preserving history, but shaping it. Clint Eastwood's connection to Carmel, California, is more than just residential, it's deeply personal. One of his most passionate and community-driven projects was the resurrection of the historic Mission Ranch. In the 1980s, the property, which dates back to the 1850s, was on the brink of demolition. Developers were lining up to bulldoze the land and replace it with condominiums. But Eastwood saw something worth saving. He swooped in and bought the property, not for profit, but to preserve a piece of California's cultural and historical fabric. What followed was a painstaking restoration. The ranch, once a decaying collection of buildings, was transformed into a thriving inn and restaurant, complete with picturesque views of sheep grazing on open pastures and the nearby coastline. But the Mission Ranch revival wasn't just about charm. It was a calculated play that elevated Eastwood's profile in the community, strengthened his influence in local politics, and further diversified his empire. The inn draws thousands of visitors each year, and its success contributed to a real estate and tourism boom in Carmel. Even locals who were initially skeptical of Eastwood's intentions came to see the project as a gift to the community. He wasn't content to merely write checks. Eastwood personally oversaw much of the restoration and design process. His hands-on approach impressed even the most critical preservationists. The ranch became a physical extension of Eastwood's philosophy, efficient, respectful, timeless. Through the Mission Ranch, Eastwood established himself as more than a celebrity, he became a civic icon. It paved the way for his run as mayor of Carmel in 1986, a campaign that centered around environmental preservation, community engagement, and thoughtful development. And while most see the Mission Ranch as a charming getaway, those in the know understand it's also a strategic piece of Eastwood's empire. It produces steady income, strengthens his brand, and roots his legacy in a community that has become synonymous with his name. Mission Ranch wasn't just saved, it was reborn. And in doing so, Clint Eastwood quietly reminded the world that preserving the past can be just as powerful as building the future. Clint Eastwood has never been one to broadcast his private life, but behind his rugged mystique lies a deeply personal and surprisingly strategic mission, securing a legacy for his children. Over the years, Eastwood's empire has expanded beyond movies and real estate to include the people closest to him. While many Hollywood dynasties crumble under the weight of fame and fortune, Eastwood took a more grounded, deliberate approach. His family wasn't just part of his life, they were integrated into the very fabric of his empire. With 8 children from different relationships, Eastwood's family tree might seem complicated. But instead of chaos, he's fostered a quiet cohesion. Several of his children have followed in his footsteps, not just as actors, but as filmmakers, producers, and creatives in their own right. Scott Eastwood, perhaps the most recognized of the bunch, has carved out a respectable career in Hollywood, starring in blockbuster films like The Fate of the Furious and Pacific Rim: Uprising. While Scott carries the Eastwood name with pride, he also learned the importance of humility, hard work, and discipline, values his father embodied on and off screen. Then there's Allison Eastwood, who transitioned from acting to directing and philanthropy. She even worked on projects tied to Malpaso Productions, gaining first-hand experience under her father's watchful eye. Unlike the spoiled heirs of Hollywood royalty, Clint's kids weren't handed the keys to the kingdom. They had to earn their place in the industry, and in the business ventures Clint built from scratch. What's especially telling is how Eastwood uses his empire not just to support his family financially, but to mentor them. He's invited his children onto film sets, included them in real estate discussions, and encouraged them to explore passions outside of the limelight. This isn't a man obsessed with legacy in the flashy, egocentric sense. He's more concerned with sustainability, making sure the world he built continues long after he steps back from the spotlight. And part of that sustainability is financial literacy. Eastwood has long emphasized independence over indulgence. His children weren't raised in excessive luxury. They saw the value of work, the necessity of perseverance, and the importance of investing in long-term goals. Whether it was through supporting their business ventures or guiding them in property management, Clint ensured they had the tools to build something of their own. In this way, Eastwood's empire is multi-generational by design. While his films entertain millions and his properties increase in value, it's the hands-on mentorship that may prove to be his greatest investment. It's rare in Hollywood, a world where fame often corrupts, to see a family so grounded, so aligned with the patriarch's values. Clint Eastwood didn't just build a brand or a fortune. He built a family enterprise, infused with intention and guided by principle. And as his children grow into their own careers and responsibilities, one thing becomes crystal clear. The Eastwood name isn't just surviving in Hollywood, it's evolving into something far greater. While Clint Eastwood may be best known for his roles in westerns and gritty thrillers, his influence stretches far beyond the silver screen. One of the most interesting aspects of his empire is his foray into politics. In a town where political affiliations are often closely guarded, Eastwood's political leanings have been a topic of much discussion over the years. But what's even more fascinating is how he's used his fame and wealth to make a tangible difference in the community around him. Perhaps the most notable of his political endeavors was his time as the mayor of Carmel-by-the-Sea, California. Eastwood served as mayor from 1986 to 1988, a role that might seem out of character for the typically private and fiercely independent actor. However, for Eastwood, it was a natural extension of his deep connection to the town. He'd been living in Carmel for many years, and his decision to run for office was motivated by a desire to preserve the town's unique charm. His tenure as mayor was relatively low-key but effective. Eastwood's leadership style was straightforward and pragmatic. He was instrumental in stopping the construction of a building that would have blocked the scenic view of the ocean, a move that endeared him to the locals. His administration also focused on preserving Carmel's quaint, small-town atmosphere while making smart decisions to improve the town's infrastructure. What sets Eastwood apart from many celebrity politicians is his unpretentious approach to governance. He didn't use his position as a stepping stone to higher office or political power. Instead, he viewed the mayor's office as a way to give back to a community that had welcomed him for years. This approach was deeply in line with Eastwood's philosophy of authenticity and practicality, a theme that runs through both his personal and professional life. Eastwood's impact on politics didn't end with his brief mayoral stint. His political influence has carried through his business ventures, including his real estate dealings. His ownership of properties in Carmel, as well as his investment in Pebble Beach, ties him directly to the political and economic landscape of the region. Whether it's advocating for the preservation of natural landscapes or shaping the future of California's tourism industry, Eastwood's actions have consistently shown that his interests extend far beyond film and fame. He has also been known for his politically independent stance, often straddling the line between conservative and libertarian views. His involvement in politics was never about aligning himself with a specific party. It was about making decisions that were in the best interests of his community. This independent spirit resonates with many of his fans, as it reflects the same rugged individualism that Eastwood portrayed on screen. Through his time in politics, Eastwood has managed to maintain a low-profile yet highly effective presence, allowing his decisions to speak louder than his words. His influence may not have been as loud or as flashy as other Hollywood figures, but was equally impactful. In this sense, Eastwood's political play was a crucial part of his broader empire, a quietly powerful extension of his desire to leave a lasting mark on the world beyond entertainment. Clint Eastwood's legacy is a carefully crafted, multifaceted brand that extends far beyond his legendary roles on screen. When most people think of Eastwood, they immediately recall his iconic characters, the tough-as-nails Dirty Harry Callahan, the solitary cowboy in The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, or the noble, introspective figures in his later directorial works. But Eastwood's empire is much more than just his characters. It's about the image he has cultivated throughout his career and the broader influence he wields in Hollywood and beyond. One of the key elements of Eastwood's brand is his authenticity. Throughout his career, he's never strayed far from the persona he's known for, a man of few words, strong convictions, and unwavering self-reliance. This authenticity has been a powerful asset in building his empire, as audiences have long admired Eastwood for remaining true to himself in an industry often defined by artifice and reinvention. His public persona mirrors the characters he portrayed on screen: tough, no-nonsense, but also deeply introspective and thoughtful. Eastwood's brand is also deeply tied to his commitment to quality. From his early days as an actor to his later success as a director, he has consistently delivered films that stand the test of time. Whether directing hard-hitting dramas like Unforgiven or heartwarming tales like $1 Million Baby, Eastwood has built a reputation for crafting stories that resonate emotionally with audiences while also pushing the boundaries of what Hollywood is capable of. This focus on quality over quantity has helped him maintain a level of respect and admiration that few in Hollywood can claim. Another key element of Eastwood's brand is his penchant for minimalism. Whether in his filmmaking style or his personal life, Eastwood values simplicity and efficiency. This is evident in everything from his directing style, where he often favors sparse dialogue and long, contemplative silences, to his business dealings, where he consistently seeks ways to streamline processes and maximize efficiency. It's this same minimalist approach that has allowed Eastwood to maintain his independence and control over his projects, ensuring that his work remains true to his original vision. Eastwood's brand is also rooted in his ability to transcend his role as a mere actor and filmmaker. He's crafted a legacy as a symbol of Americana, an embodiment of traditional values such as hard work, perseverance, and self-reliance. This has allowed him to remain relevant across multiple generations, appealing to both older audiences who grew up with his films and younger viewers discovering his work for the first time. As Eastwood ages, his brand has evolved into something even more powerful, a symbol of resilience. In a business known for its youth obsession, Eastwood's longevity is a testament to his ability to adapt and thrive in changing times. His decision to continue directing well into his 80s has inspired countless filmmakers and artists, proving that age is no obstacle to creativity and success. The Eastwood brand, built on authenticity, quality, and simplicity, has transcended the realm of Hollywood and become a cultural touchstone. It's a brand that stands the test of time, and just like his film career, it shows no signs of slowing down. Eastwood has positioned himself as not just a Hollywood legend, but as a symbol of enduring strength and timeless appeal. And as his legacy continues to unfold, it's clear that Clint Eastwood's empire will be far-reaching, enduring, and built to last. While Clint Eastwood may be best known for his on-screen roles and behind-the-scenes business dealings, his influence extends into the world of politics as well. His foray into public life and his political endeavors reveal another facet of the Eastwood empire, one built on personal values, local impact, and a deep commitment to his community. Eastwood's political journey began in the small town of Carmel, California, where he became an unlikely but highly effective mayor in 1986. He was a political outsider, known more for his rugged roles in westerns than for his political ambitions. But his love for Carmel and his belief in personal responsibility led him to run for office. What followed was a largely successful tenure, during which Eastwood worked to preserve the town's charm and prevent overdevelopment, issues that he felt threatened its identity. During his time as mayor, Eastwood made a lasting impact. He served a single term, but his leadership helped to shape Carmel's future. Perhaps most notably, Eastwood pushed for the development of a local community center and took a strong stance against overcommercialization, helping maintain the town's picturesque character. His approach to governance was pragmatic. He wasn't concerned with making grand political gestures or playing the game of partisan politics. Instead, he focused on practical solutions and community building. But Eastwood's political involvement didn't stop at Carmel. He has also made his mark in the broader public sphere, with his outspoken views on issues ranging from government spending to personal freedom. A self-described libertarian, Eastwood has been vocal about his disdain for bureaucracy and government overreach. His political philosophy reflects the values of independence and individualism that have been central to both his personal and professional life. One of the most significant moments in Eastwood's political history came in 2012 when he appeared at the Republican National Convention. In an impromptu speech, Eastwood spoke to an empty chair, symbolizing a dialogue with President Barack Obama. While the moment was controversial and widely criticized, it further cemented Eastwood's reputation as a bold and unpredictable figure. It also demonstrated his unflinching willingness to speak his mind, regardless of the consequences. Through these public actions and his role as mayor, Eastwood has built a political legacy that is distinctly his own. He is not a career politician, but rather a civic-minded individual who has used his platform and influence to shape the world around him. His political endeavors may have been low-key compared to his Hollywood career, but they reveal an important part of the Eastwood empire, a commitment to community, and a belief in personal responsibility. In a world where celebrities often shy away from politics or use their platform for self-promotion, Eastwood's political career stands out as a rare example of an individual who, for better or worse, has used his fame to enact real change at the local level. And while his political views may not always align with mainstream thought, they serve as a reflection of the independent spirit that has always defined his career. Clint Eastwood's impact on Hollywood and his impressive business empire are well documented, but one of his lesser-known passions is the preservation of the American West. Over the years, Eastwood has invested not only in real estate but in protecting the very landscapes and history that shaped the characters he portrayed on screen. His commitment to preserving the natural beauty of the West, along with its cultural significance, reveals another layer of his empire, one built on respect for tradition and the land. Eastwood's interest in preserving the West began early in his career. As an actor known for his roles in westerns, Eastwood spent much of his time immersed in the rugged landscapes of the American frontier. It's no surprise that as he rose to power behind the camera and in the business world, he sought ways to protect those same places that had shaped his identity. One of Eastwood's most notable preservation efforts is his involvement with the Tehama Ranch in California. Located in the northern part of the state, Tehama spans over 5,000 acres and is home to some of the most stunning views of the Sierra Nevada mountain range. Eastwood has been involved in managing the ranch for years, maintaining its pristine beauty and ensuring that it remains protected from overdevelopment. This ranch is a reflection of Eastwood's deep connection to the land and his desire to maintain the authenticity of the American West. In addition to his work at Tehama Ranch, Eastwood has also taken steps to preserve historical landmarks and monuments that celebrate the legacy of the American frontier. His involvement with the restoration of the Mission Ranch in Carmel, for example, helped protect a piece of history that was nearly lost to development. By restoring the ranch and turning it into a hotel and restaurant, Eastwood gave it new life, while preserving its historical significance for future generations. Eastwood's commitment to preservation extends beyond physical landscapes. He has also supported organizations that aim to safeguard the history of the American West, including the preservation of Native American cultural sites and artifacts. Through donations and his public support, Eastwood has played a role in protecting the rich cultural heritage of the West, ensuring that it remains an integral part of America's story. Eastwood's efforts to protect the West also reflect his broader worldview. As someone who values individualism and self-reliance, it makes sense that he would seek to preserve the land and its traditions, those values that have shaped the American spirit for centuries. Whether it's through his real estate ventures or his efforts to safeguard the history of the West, Eastwood's legacy as a protector of the American frontier is just as significant as his cinematic contributions. Through these preservation efforts, Eastwood has built a lasting legacy that goes beyond Hollywood. He is not just a star, he is a steward of history, someone who has taken it upon himself to ensure that the essence of the West endures for future generations. Clint Eastwood's hidden empire is much more than a collection of successful business ventures and investments. It's a testament to his vision, his ability to work quietly behind the scenes, and his understanding of what it takes to build something that endures. From Malpaso Productions to his real estate empire, Pebble Beach, and his dedication to preserving the American West, Eastwood has demonstrated that true power isn't about fame or fortune. It's about lasting influence, careful planning, and a deep respect for what has come before. As Eastwood approaches his 9th decade, his legacy continues to evolve. His business empire, shaped by decades of calculated decisions, remains as resilient and adaptable as the characters he's played on screen. And it's not just about preserving wealth, it's about building something meaningful that will endure far beyond his lifetime. His investments are as strategic as they are symbolic, and each one reflects Eastwood's unique approach to life and business. One of the key aspects of Eastwood's empire is its sustainability. Unlike many celebrities who find themselves caught in the web of short-term hype and fleeting trends, Eastwood has focused on creating value that lasts. His properties and business ventures have been built on a foundation of long-term thinking. His interest in preserving history and his desire to maintain control over his creative projects are reflections of his broader philosophy that true success isn't about quick wins, but about creating something that stands the test of time. As Eastwood's empire continues to grow and evolve, there is no doubt that future generations will feel the ripple effects of his influence. His impact extends far beyond the film industry. It reaches into the world of business, preservation, and even culture. He's a rare breed of celebrity, one who has used his fame and fortune to shape the world around him, creating an empire that blends art, commerce, and legacy. Eastwood's empire also offers valuable lessons for anyone looking to build something meaningful. It shows that true power comes from a combination of foresight, discipline, and the willingness to stay true to one's principles. His story is a reminder that behind the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, there's often a deeper, more strategic force at work. As the world continues to change, Clint Eastwood's empire will undoubtedly continue to evolve, but its core principles will remain the same. It's a legacy rooted in vision, quiet strength, and an unwavering commitment to preserving what matters most. Whether through his films, his business ventures, or his dedication to the land, Clint Eastwood's influence will remain a powerful force for generations to come.